On a cold December evening, Emily sat on the church steps, hugging her thin jacket tighter as the wind cut through her like glass. She hadn't eaten all day, hadn't slept properly in weeks, and hope, once her only comfort, felt like a distant memory. She kept her eyes down, afraid someone would recognize the girl she used to be, a college student, a daughter, a dreamer, before everything fell apart. Footsteps suddenly stopped in front of her. Emily expected judgment, or pity, or the usual. "Move from here." But instead, she heard a tiny, gentle voice. "I think you need a hug." Emily looked up. A little girl, no older than 6, stood with her mittened hands open, smiling as if she saw something beautiful in Emily's brokenness. Behind her, the girl's father watched cautiously, unsure but not interfering. Emily blinked, shocked. "Sweetheart. I'm fine." But the girl shook her head. "No, you're sad." It wasn't a question. It was truth. Before Emily could react, the girl leaned forward and wrapped her arms around her. Warmth. Real, human warmth, something Emily hadn't felt in months, melted the cold inside her chest. Tears spilled from her eyes, uninvited and unstoppable. The father stepped closer, moved by the sight. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. Emily nodded, unable to speak. That one innocent embrace felt like someone handing her back a piece of her lost humanity. She didn't know it yet, but that moment would change everything. The father, Daniel, knelt beside his daughter as Emily struggled to wipe her tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered, embarrassed. "I didn't mean to cry." Daniel shook his head gently. "You don't have to apologize for being human." The little girl, Lily, sat beside Emily on the steps as if they'd known each other forever. "Daddy says hugs make broken hearts feel warm," she said proudly. "Did it help?" Emily nodded, her lips trembling. "More than you know." Daniel noticed the bruises under her sleeves, the exhaustion in her eyes, the way she kept shivering even though she wasn't complaining. He realized she wasn't just cold, she was defeated. "Do you have somewhere to go tonight?" he asked. Emily hesitated. I'm fine. I don't want to cause trouble." Lily frowned. "That means no." Daniel sighed. "There's a shelter not far from here. We can walk you there. It's safe, warm, and the people there are kind." Emily's heart squeezed. She had been turned away from shelters before, too full, too crowded, or simply uninterested. But something about Daniel's voice felt different. Gentle. Genuine. Still, she protested. "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not," Daniel said firmly. "Everyone deserves a place to feel safe." Lily tugged Emily's hand. "Come with us. Please? Daddy says helping people makes the world less cold." Emily looked at the small hand holding hers, tiny, warm, unwavering. For the first time in months, she felt like someone actually cared. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll go." Lily beamed, and Daniel helped Emily stand. They began walking together toward the shelter, unaware that the real miracle of this night hadn't even begun. As they approached the shelter, Emily felt her steps slowing. Memories of past rejections tangled with her fear of being judged. "Maybe this is a mistake," she murmured. Daniel noticed. "What's wrong?" Emily swallowed hard. "Last time I tried a shelter, they wouldn't let me stay. Said they had no room." Lily squeezed her hand. "But Daddy knows people." Daniel chuckled. "I don't know everyone, sweetheart. But I do know the woman who runs this place. She's special." Inside the shelter, the warm air hit Emily like a blanket. Volunteers moved around carrying trays of food, handing out blankets, talking kindly to people whose names society had forgotten. A woman with silver-streaked hair approached. "Daniel," she greeted warmly, then turned to Emily with soft eyes. "Is this the young lady you called me about?" Emily blinked. "You called for me?" Daniel nodded. "I wanted to make sure you had a place tonight." Emotion tightened her throat. "Why would you do that? You don't even know me." The shelter director smiled. "You don't need to be known to be cared for." Emily's eyes filled again. Lily tugged her coat. See? I told you good things happen when you let people help. The director led Emily to a small room with a bed, clean sheets, and a soft lamp. It wasn't much, but to Emily it felt like heaven. You can stay as long as you need, the director said. Emily sank onto the bed, overcome. Thank you? I don't know how to repay any of you, Daniel replied gently. Just heal. That's enough. Emily didn't know it yet, but this night was the beginning of her second chance. The next morning, Emily woke to birdsong instead of street noise. For a few peaceful seconds she forgot where she was. Then the memories of the night before returned, the hug, the kindness, the room, and she felt something unfamiliar. Hope. She washed up, borrowed clean clothes from the shelter closet, and stepped into the dining hall. Lily spotted her instantly. Emily! Look! We saved you breakfast! Emily laughed, a sound she hadn't heard from herself in months. You did? Daniel waved. Come sit with us. As they ate, Daniel asked gently, Emily, what happened? If you're comfortable sharing. She hesitated, then exhaled. I aged out of foster care at 18. No family, no savings, no one to help. I tried to work and study, but when my roommate moved out without paying rent, I lost everything. Lily's eyes widened with innocent sorrow. That's not fair. Emily smiled sadly. Life isn't always fair. But kindness like yours, it makes it easier. Daniel leaned back. Have you thought about work? Not forever, just to get started again. Emily shrugged. I tried everywhere. No one wants someone with no address. Daniel exchanged a glance with Lily, then looked back at Emily with intention. What if I told you my company is hiring? Nothing complicated, just reception work. Steady pay, safe environment. I could put in a recommendation. Emily froze. Me? Yes, you. Tears formed again, different this time. Not from pain, but possibility. I don't know what to say. Lily grinned. Say yes. Emily laughed breathlessly. Yes. Yes, I'd love that. She didn't know that accepting this offer would lead to a twist she never expected. 2 weeks later, Emily walked into Daniel's company, clean clothes, a new ID badge, and a nervous smile. The staff welcomed her warmly, not knowing the depth of her journey. She learned quickly, worked diligently, and treated everyone with the kindness she had once craved. But something strange began happening. Employees whispered around her. Some stared a little too long. And the HR manager double-checked her name twice during orientation. Finally, during lunch, Emily asked Daniel, Is something wrong? People keep looking at me weird. Daniel hesitated, then laughed softly. It's complicated. Before he could continue, the HR manager, Mrs. Green, approached with a file in her hands. Emily, she said carefully, could we talk? Emily's stomach tightened. Had she done something wrong? Mrs. Green handed her the file. Inside was a photocopy of an old article, a missing person report. And the picture. It was her. Emily felt her breath vanish. This can't be. Daniel stepped closer. We didn't want to overwhelm you, but when you aged out of the system, your caseworkers submitted a final welfare check? They never found you. Emily's hands shook. So, I've been missing? For 3 years, Mrs. Green said gently. Your foster family, they weren't perfect, but they'd been looking for you. They even set up a fund in case you were found. Emily's heart pounded. A fund? Daniel nodded. For education. For housing. For your future. Emily covered her mouth as tears formed. Everything she thought she had lost might not be lost after all. And the hug that saved her life had led her back to a path she never imagined. That evening, Emily sat outside the shelter, the same steps where her life had changed, processing the whirlwind of emotions. Missing. Searched for. Wanted. Those were words she never thought applied to her. Lily ran up to her, climbing into her lap without hesitation. "Daddy said you found something important today." Emily hugged her. "I did, sweetheart." Daniel joined them, hands in his pockets. "You don't have to decide anything tonight," he said. "But your foster family is coming tomorrow. Only if you want to see them." Emily looked at him gratefully. "I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I'm not scared anymore." She touched Lily's cheek. "Because of you." Lily giggled. "It was just a hug." Daniel smiled. "Sometimes the smallest things make the biggest difference." Emily nodded, tears slipping down her face, not from sorrow, but from healing. "That hug saved me." Daniel sat beside her. "So, what will you do now?" Emily breathed deeply. "I'll meet them. I'll see what's possible. And I'll keep working, keep building the life I thought I lost." Daniel extended his hand. "We'll be here, whatever you choose." Emily took it. The church bells began to ring, soft, warm, hopeful. The street lights glowed like gentle stars, illuminating the three of them sitting together on the cold steps where a miracle had begun. For the first time in years, Emily didn't feel invisible. She felt seen. She felt valued. She felt human again. A little girl's simple words, "I think you need a hug," had rewritten her entire destiny. And Emily knew one thing for sure. Kindness had saved her life. And she would spend the rest of her days passing it forward.